and welcome back to Roll and Keep, our weekly show where we come together to play, teach, design, and learn settings primed by Cortex. I am Mellie, Doucette, the community manager for Cortex, and I am so glad that you have joined us here today for the penultimate episode of our Tales of Xadia game. Penultimate being a very fancy word that makes me feel very smart and good about myself. It means second to last. Tales of Xadia is the official RPG for Netflix and Wonderstorm's The Dragon Prince, which you can watch right after this. Don't go right now, but right after this, you can go watch it on Netflix, and it's fantastic. So go enjoy. There's 3 seasons out right now. There's more seasons coming. But hey, if this is your first time watching this show, we'll get you caught up. So stick around. You don't have to have watched the last 3. We got you covered. Also, hey, if this is your first time watching, know that this is not just a live play show. It's a live learn to play show. And while I'm going to be today's narrator, I am also joined by an incredible group of people who are going to help me do that. Some of whom are Cortex experts and some of whom are fresh to the game. So then any more of my ado, I'm very glad to be joined by the actual designer of Tales of Xadia and Cortex Prime, Cam Banks, who's playing Sunfire Mage Babukar, and our Moonshadow Elf Assassin, Eljal, being played by actor, writer, streamer, improviser, creator, director, woman of just so many skills and talents and amazingness is Aliza Pearl. And I have just one Moonshadow when you can have 2. Our very own Amy Dallen playing Moonshadow Mage Draylen. And ready to deal with the consequences of where his character Routhna ended our episode last time is the delightful Michael Galvis of our content editorial team. And our very special guest, the incredible Trisha Hershberger as Neolandian noble Vinaya. Trisha is a host producer, and you might know her from MTV, IGN, Smosh, Nerdist, and a lot of other places. Yes, thank you, Cam Dorinian. I made my notes bad. Dorinian noble, not Neolandian noble. Very important distinction. Trisha, please take the floor for a moment.
Thank you so much for having me. It's very exciting to be here and to continue this adventure. I know I was kind of sharing this with my fellow storytellers and adventurers before we went live, but we left off in a spicy spot. We are picking up. We're gonna run. We're going running today. So thank you everybody for being here today. I think it's going to be a real good time. And Mellie, I can't wait for that recap.
It's gonna be so good. All right, so hey, and if you're tuning in and wondering, hey, I could do this or I want to do this, you can. You can follow along today or later or whenever you want by checking out the free rules primer, 12 ready-made characters and more over at talesofxadia.com. And stick around because when we roll heroic successes, what are those? You'll find out. We will be giving away digital copies of the Cortex Prime game handbook. So keep an eye on chat for those. And I think that about covers us. So if we're ready for that very spicy recap, let's continue our Tale of Xadia, the Gloaming Glade.
The next saga of the Dragon Prince is yours. Forge a path with friends and create your own Tales of Xadia with an all-new tabletop role-playing game where you'll forge alliances, encounter dark magic, and confront untold dangers in a system designed to capture the magic and wonder of the Dragon Prince. Featuring never-before-seen content and lore, engaging, simple-to-learn rules, and easy-to-use digital tools. So whether you're a tabletop veteran looking for something new, a Dragon Prince fan that's never rolled dice, or you're hoping to share your passion with the next generation of fans, the future of Xadia is in your hands.
Wow! How'd you learn to do that?
I've never done that before in my life.
Pre-order your copy and try out 2 amazing tales in previously unexplored locations. With 12 incredible ready-to-play characters to jump directly into the adventure. All available now at talesofxadia.com. Tales of Xadia, the Dragon Prince role-playing game. The next saga of the Dragon Prince is yours.
Previously, in the tale of the Gloaming Glade, we learned about the plague of worms infesting the Hollow Wood, which is a moonshadow settlement in Xadia, friendly to outsiders, even humans. The worms, the group uncovered, are a part of a hive mind living beneath the earth, something ancient and dangerous. Flogula, Ozlumina called it. Yes, Ozlumina, the moonshadow dragon held prisoner in the glade at the very heart of the Hollow Wood. A dragon that seems little more than a wisp, translucent and seemingly somewhat weak in her prison. Our adventurers arrived in her glade to ask for help. Their ghosted from Moonshadow Society ally Tuluin, a former elder of this place, advising that Ozlumina could help use a relic they recovered to save the people of the Hollow Wood. But Ozlumina was perhaps not quite as she seemed. After entreating with her guardian, an adorable and performative violet Pandorum named Plunky, to allow them into the glade, they discovered Ozlumina to be suspicious. And not only that, but cruel towards the soft-hearted Plunky. After attempting to sway the adventurers with a tale of woe, the group rejected the premise of her story and gave her a very dire insecure stress at a D10. Not wanting to reveal, anything that she said as false or otherwise, Oz instead agreed to help the adventurers with their request, giving in and backing off. But that didn't satisfy everybody in this group. For Rauthna, enough was enough. A dragon shouldn't be weak. Rauthna came here for a glorious hunt, to travel with Mencken to see the most exciting and dangerous sights that Xadia has to offer. This is the end of that vacation. This is the climax, and that dragon is just gonna give in? Not on Rauthna's watch. Michael, in the last episode, you signaled to Mencken to hold for you. And now you have challenged Oz. If you want this magic, if you want to be freed, fight me in battle. But if I win, you'll do precisely what we need, which is where we left off. And though she has been made to feel insecure, and though perhaps some beasts would quiver at this group of powerful warriors and negotiators, especially with how this has gone for her so far, Oz's insecurity manifests differently. It manifests into a great desire to prove you all far more false than she, to crush you beneath her claws. And Rauthna, to you, she growls, and then her voice echoes through the glade in a whisper, bouncing off of the stone obelisks that make up the outer, the prison bars, essentially, of her glade, chilling the air with the words, "I accept your challenge." And with a sweep of her tail and a powerful incantation, partum mysterium, craggy obelisks part the stones below and jut up around the group, pushing everyone outside of a smaller ring, everyone but Rauthna. "Your move, warrior," she says as she sort of perches atop one stone, sort of shoulders moving to get ready. "Rauthna, your challenge has been answered. As you decide what you want to do, let me check in with the rest of you, as these moments have just gone by so quickly." Let's start with Aliza. Does Eljol want to do anything in this moment?
Yes. So these obelisks kind of push us outside of this fighting ring, and I'm gonna try to run back over to the edge and just shout to Rauthna, "Are you sure about this?"
You would see Rauthna already lifting her blade, pointing it at the dragon, and looking back at you, would say, "More than ever, I'm ready."
"Do you need any help?"
No, you stand back. Because for the first time ever, you're going to see that my stories are true. My stories of exploits, of victories, are very much true.
Mm-hmm. Excellent. Okay. So as you're kind of at these obelisks have kind of risen up, and They look like they could be climbable, but there's also just small gaps in between them that you can see through. You can kind of get around them a little bit. Maybe you really, really squeezed, or if you're really small, you might be able to get through. So you can kind of see what's happening through there. Vinaya, are you doing anything?
So Vinaya is absolutely terrified. And if she's within speaking distance of Dallen, she's going to look over and say, "This one has gotten himself killed with his own falsities. Hopefully not us too." And just kind of stay put.
Sounds good. Dallen, anything for you?
I'm gonna look at Vinaya and look at I don't we do you think we can stop them? And then I would like to try something.
What would you like to try?
I would like to squeeze up towards as close as I can to the cracks between the giant obelisks. And all I want to do is stop this. And I want to see if I can use Mystica Arbora, my group invisibility, because they can't kill each other if they can't tell where anyone is.
Excellent.
I want to reach
yes.
in and just blank out all of us and them.
Excellent. So this is, I love it. So in this moment, this is all happening kind of at the same time. So Eljal's kind of calling out to Routhna, who's getting ready to battle, and Oz is just, positioned, like, just really like in this gloaty way, like that insecurity is completely manifesting in like, I'm gonna like completely, mug for this. I'm not backing down. I'm gonna hide it with confidence. And you are starting to cast this spell. Babukar, are you doing anything?
I've quickly looked to see if the primal well, which we have been safeguarding all this time, and which I'm currently still wearing the armor for, is it still with me? Because we were all
you have it, and it's just kind of, it's floating next to you, and just as you're pushed back, you were able to kind of just keep it steady. But yes, it is with you currently.
All right, and I want to try and check to see whether Tuluan is also present and what they're doing, because they were with us at the time, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Tuluan is with you. Tuluan, who is, known to you as Feathershawl originally, has also been pushed back out and is, thinking kind of panickedly, like looking at this situation and kind of looking over at the primal well, almost trying to maybe find some other solution. And you see they're starting to like cast a spell. It looks actually similar to the spell that they cast up on Anine when you first arrived there. The spell that sort of gave them a little bit of a sense and a map of the area seems to be similar to what they're doing right now.
And finally, I'm mostly doing like this checking in on everyone else kind of move right now, because I'm sort of with my first impulse, what do we got? So finally, is Plunky is still with us, correct?
Yes. Currently with Dallen, who is sort of like kind of pulling up onto this, and Plunky, just kind of crawls off you and is like kind of floating next to you kind of as you go up. Like, Plunky doesn't seem to want to leave your side, but also seems really cagey about going anywhere into this battleground that has been created.
Okay. So with that quick, checking in on what's going on, my impulse now, my instinct is to protect all of us from something that might come in from outside. So I will say to Lewin, whatever you're going to do, make sure that it doesn't, attract any more attention. And I will swing my staff around like this and unleash my magic. I want to raise my circle of light to the outermost edge, so that it is now between, so there's the light and then the outer stones, to keep anyone from just sort of coming in here and joining us, as opposed to, doing anything with this. I think Dallen may have some plans. I don't know what kind of magic she's working, but that's my goal.
So we have these what appear to be obelisks sort of in this, central area, and then those larger ones that imprison the dragon, and that's kind of where you're doing that wall of fire sort of idea?
Yeah,
or the ring of light, rather, sorry.
It's mostly going to be, it'll look like heat. Heat, it's like the one that they had in the show, but it probably won't hurt anybody, but it looks quite scary to pass through it, right?
Yeah.
So I want to try and
it's like when it's so hot over the asphalt that you can like see the kind of blur that it creates. Is what I'm imagining? Yeah, cool.
And it's also radiant in some degree.
Sweet. Cool. So I think the order we're going to do this is we're going to do that first, Cam. That's going to be an asset test. So you can just create an asset that will be able to be used. And then what we're going to do is we're going to start a contest between Oz and Rauthna. And once they've taken their turns in that contest, Amy, you can interfere. And that is a mechanic we haven't done here yet, so we'll talk about that when we get to it. But I think it's a great opportunity for it. So, Cam, we're going to do yours first. So you are basically trying to get this whole area sort of blocked off, which I think is going to be pretty difficult. I'm going to call that a 2d10 test.
Okay.
Do you have any stress at the moment?
I don't currently have any stress.
Excellent. So what is happening here, for those of you who are new, is that in a test, I'm going to pick a difficulty. I said this was going to be hard. That's represented by 2d10s. I'm going to roll them. That's going to set the difficulty that Cam, as Babukar, is going to have to try to overcome using his traits. So I'm going to go ahead and roll this one. I got a not great roll, so hey, this might bode well for Michael. It's a 6 for you, Cam.
All right. This is my intellect. I'm being very precise and orderly about it. This is the kind of thing that battle mages do well. I'm not doing this impulsively. It's also justice for me. This is keeping this thing sort of like, there needs to be some sort of sense of order. My justice is I relish my duties. They're never a burden. It is my role right now to keep people safe from this nonsense that Rauthna has decided to start up. But I'm fairly sure that she has sealed her own fate, but that's fine. So justice is in there. Hot-headed. It says fire mage here. I don't know why I keep saying.
There you go.
That's
That's why that explains.
But I'll do that for D8 and it's sun magic, and it's my sun magic spell, Circle Luminous. So
excellent.
And...
Sweet. And as that rolls, just to explain to anybody who's new here, so when a character gets to build a dice pool, they're going to be picking different traits about their character. So their attributes, their values, and their distinctions are going to be in every roll. So their attributes is very typical, like, hey, what is it about you that's going to help you succeed? It's your strength, your agility, your intellect. Your values is, why are you doing this? Why do you care about this? And then your distinctions, like the elevator pitch of your character. It's telling us a little bit about who specifically you are. And that's going to either be something that is going to help you in the situation or hurt you in the situation. You get to sort of decide for yourself. And in addition to that, this game has specialties and assets. Specialties are hyper-specific skills, and assets are, they could be a magical item, they could be a creature, they could be an item that you have. There are lots of different things like that that are going to give you an advantage. And the player gets to choose which dice to use, gathers a pool, rolls them, and it's going to pick 2 for their highest total, or their best, the total they want, rather.
Mm-hmm. So I'm rolling. And I got a 13.
That's definitely gonna beat a 6 last time I checked math, but you did get a hitch.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm gonna go ahead, I'm gonna buy that hitch. So you get a plot point for that, and I am going to call that, let's give you an afraid stress.
Okay.
And this is a heroic success piece. This asset you're creating is gonna be a D10.
Correct.
Ring of light. And would you like to keep that for yourself, or are you giving that to somebody else?
I think that I want to make it open, so I want to spend both my plot points to do that. So anyone can access it.
Excellent. So yeah, anybody will be able to use that, which is amazing. So there's D10, a ring of light that is around the outside of the glade there. The reason I'm giving this afraid stress is because as you cast this, you hear this gasp of pain from somebody that you did not know was there, and coming from that little kind of squeeze entrance that you all entered from, and just kind of brushing himself off, is this Delbarian hunter-looking fellow, just with covered in furs and a necklace of teeth, of things that look massive. Like, this guy has taken down some beasts, and he just kind of tumbles in, having been burned by this wall that appeared like right through him. And then he just kind of like looks up, knowing that his hiding is kind of up, and he makes eye contact with you in that moment. And then we're gonna go to this contest. So as this is happening on the outside, as Draylen, you're kind of trying to get enough sight to be able to do your spell. Eljal, you yelled to Rauthna. Vinaya, you've just been like, not my circus, not my monkeys.
Yeah.
And Michael, what do you want to do?
I don't know. Okay. All right. Rafna is standing before this dragon, broadsword held, pointing at it. I believe you described us as having a bit of a higher ground. Is that right?
A bit of a perch, yeah. Basically, whatever she cast, she created so that you were below, you were just still on the ground. You didn't get pulled up by anything, but she kind of rose up on a bit of a perch, like a, Pride Rock style perch.
Ooh, I love it. Okay. Let's see. Rafna is going to go for the cinematic, very just like forward attack, like face to face, going on with this dragon. However, she's prepared for the dragon to take a swipe at her. So she's anticipating that. I don't know if that does anything. But her plan is rush forward. If the dragon swipes at her, she's going to turn and attack the claw. She's trying to signal that she's going to go for like the neck.
You're doing it like a feint sort of thing.
Yes, that's what I'm trying to do.
Sweet. So you're engaging this. You want to injure Oz is your goal. So go ahead and build a dice pool for me. You are starting this contest.
Okay.
And then we'll go from there.
All right. Well, I'm going to go for, I think in this case, agility is going to make more sense than strength, just because I'm actually trying to feint her.
I agree.
Glory will be my D8. I want to use a plot point to touch on my royal guard, because this harkens back to all of my training, all of the types of creatures that I faced off that I've been trained to fight against.
So you don't need to spend a plot point to use your distinction. You just get your distinction.
Oh, okay, great.
Yeah.
There may be SFX attached to your distinction that you require plot points for, but not to use it.
Oh, okay, great. Thank you. And then specialties and assets. Do I need to spend a plot point for assets?
No. So you get if there's a specialty that applies, you can put it in, and any asset that applies, you can throw in.
So I have swordplay and my massive broadsword.
Heck yes.
Okay, great. I was built for this.
Yes. Also, if you can tell me how you are using Oz's insecurity against her, you can add her D10 stress to your pool.
I'm gonna do like a battle cry against her. I want to show that maybe her insecurities are right. Maybe she isn't as powerful as she thinks, and this Neolandian human who has just traveled across the realm to find her is going to succeed and is not going to have to use any bit of cleverness in order to succeed in this situation.
I love it. Yeah, throw that D10 in there.
All right. This is going to be, oh man, this is going to be a good roll. Or it's going to be really bad. Let's see. So I hit this button.
And then you drag that 10 over. Yeah, you got it. Ooh. All right. So we got to roll with a couple hitches. You got a total of 10. It's just the first roll of the contest, though. So contest will keep going. So you don't have to worry too much. You have to worry about those hitches, though. Which I am going to give you. I'm going to buy that. So you get a plot point.
Okay.
And I get to buy both of those hitches for just one plot point. So I'm going to get to give you a D8 stress instead of a D6. And I'm going to call that insecure for you. Ooh. Because as you run up and you think, oh, I can use some of this to kind of help me get to her more easily. It's going to be so great. But you don't realize that these stones are an illusion. They're not real.
Uh-oh.
And as you are doing this, Oz is like, oh, I'm not going to let you use those to your advantage. And she sort of just lightly drops the illusion a little bit for you. So everybody else kind of still sees these stones and sees these walls and perceives them as completely real. But for that moment, as you're kind of like, I'm going to use this to grab onto, your hand just goes right through it. And all of a sudden, it's a lot harder to get to her than you thought. So D8, insecure for you, Rafna. And now it's her turn to try and, so you want to injure her. And her goal in this contest is to injure you. It is just hit for hit. So I'm going to go ahead and build her dice pool. She had her catalyst die was stepped down last time because you all made her less narratively relevant by just completely owning her in in our last episode's contest. So she's got a D6 there. She is using your insecurity against you, especially she's made this battlefield completely her own to manipulate. So I'm going to go ahead and add in your stress there. And then I'm going to add her distinction of being a phase dragon, which is a D8. And she is going to use this spell that she's cast, this illusion, this Partum Mysterium, as an asset, which is a D8. And then finally, she's going to use her specialty, which is claws and jaws, which is a D10 specialty. As she essentially, as you are coming towards her, she is going to go for that feint. Absolutely, she's not paying attention to that. She is just going straight for you with that massive claw, and see if I roll well. Oh, yes, I did. Okay. So here's what happens. We're not done this contest yet. But yes, currently Oz Lumina has kind of the advantage here. But Amy, you wanted to interfere in this. You want a different outcome. Ralphna wants to injure Oz. Oz wants to injure Ralphna. You don't want either of those things to happen. So to do that, you can interfere. You can spend a plot point. Is that correct, Cam?
She has to pay each of the
player a plot point.
Guess who has 3 plot points?
Yeah, so there you go. So Michael, you get a plot point for that. And I'll just mark down that I also get a plot point for that. And now you get to try and overcome the current highest difficulty, which is 15. So you have to try to beat that. Then they'll have the option of, if you beat them, they can stop and you get what you wanted. Is that correct, Cam? It's kind of like giving in?
Yep.
Or they can pay you a plot point to keep going.
Oh.
Is that correct? Maybe. I mean, I've never run an interference, so I'm very excited. But we do know you have to roll first. So while Cam looks that up, Amy, build your pool of dice, please.
Oh, I'm so excited to interfere.
Go, Draylen, go!
I love that there is a rule specifically for this, for me being like, I don't want it to happen. What can I try? Okay, so I need to build a pool for this. Bearing in mind that I am just very stressed. But gonna bring my best to this. Can I haven't done a lot of my actual magic rolls. Are there things that I should keep in mind? Like I know which distinction I'm gonna use, but like
absolutely. So yes, you're gonna use that magic distinction. You'll get to use your magic specialty. You can also use that magic asset if you're casting one of the spells, which you are. In addition, you don't have to just add one asset. So if that beetle brooch that you have that you sort of channel some magic through, if you describe how you want to use that, you can use that as well. If you can describe how you use that wall of heat that Babukar created, that's something you can use too.
Okay. Do I have my sort of choice of how I put the attributes and values into play on my magic, or?
No, so you can kind of decide what is motivating you here. What attribute is helping you cast this, and it's important to note that you're not casting to see if you successfully can cast this spell. You're seeing if it helps you stop this. So you can definitely cast this spell. This is very natural for you. But yes. Thank you, Cam. So Cam has the answer. You only pay 1 plot point, so you can get 1 plot point back.
Cool.
Go ahead.
All right. So I think I'm going to approach this with my attribute of spirit. I think that's what I'm bringing to bear here. This is a moon-faced dragon. I spent my whole life looking up to and wondering about whoever was in the center of, like, this is my home. I actually, against my better judgment, I like Ralphna. I don't want to see her hurt either. I just, I am going to, I do not admit out loud that I think Ralphna's cool. But, I'm going to use spirit as the attribute. My values on this one, I think... Oh! I'm gonna use devotion, because my phrase is, I can improvise many a spell if it means saving my beloved friends.
Perfect.
I'm both a moon shadow elf and a passionate mage, but I feel like passionate mage is the more straightforward, applicable one here. And I would like to use my specialty of moon magic and my moon magic spell, specifically Mystica Arbora, group invisibility. And I would like, I mean, if nobody minds, I would like to see if I can grab that brooch and try to channel, even though it's sunfire magic, like try to transform it and draw it into the brooch and transform it into strengthening my moon magic, if that's a thing I can do, and bring my beetle brooch into play, which is my opal charm designed to resemble an ancient beetle imbued with moon magic, and use it as a magnifier in that way.
Yeah, I think that's really cool. Yeah, you were like kind of taking this, you're like grabbing kind of this heat and this light that's coming off of this, and through this, it's like, you know, you're not trying to hurt anybody with it, but that idea of like magnifying glass, being mean to poor ants, but instead it's like, I'm doing this to make this magic moon and to like focus it and make it really powerful. I think that's really cool.
And I'm trying to render the entire group as much, definitely Rautna and Oz, if it's how the spell works, the rest of us as well, but like I want to get that, like channel that light into invisibility, turn it into no one being able to see, through almost like a snow blindness effect, that will take us all out of the visual plane, ideally, if it works. So I'm adding a D10 for the ring on the outside to refract it through the brooch there.
And Cam, I believe that Draylen can use the stress as well that these characters have, but probably just one of them. Is that correct?
Yeah.
So
you have to. I mean, obviously, it'll be the highest one, whichever one's most applicable.
And they're both insecurity. So Oz has a D10 insecure stress that you can, if you want to describe how you are doing this, how you're using that against her, you can definitely use that.
Think that I would like to use it against her in terms of, not that I'm a threat to her, but to be aware that, like, the folks who've come, like, we have magic of our own. You know, she was very dismissive of our friend here, but like we are people that she should take into account. I'm not trying to be intimidating, but like, you know, you've done some illusions and that's cool, but I've got moon magic as well, even though I'm just a little
I love it. So yeah, add that D10. It's a pretty sweet pool of dice.
Ooh. And we're gonna give it a roll. And the last thing Rautna said was, "We're gonna show you some glory." So under my breath, I'm whispering, "Or not."
Ooh, that's very nice. It's a total of 17, which definitely is going to succeed here. So then the question goes to Oz and Rautna that we can give, if I give Amy a plot point and you give Amy a plot point, we then will have to, we'll continue the contest, but we'll narrate, how we are working around this spell. So I'll turn it to you first. I'll say Oz would spend a plot point. If you're going to spend one, Oz is definitely going to spend one.
Rothman would definitely spend a plot point. Let's keep going. I got plot points.
So Amy, you get 2 plot points because we have both spent it. And so what's going to happen is basically, it's kind of like we're starting a new contest, but now we're rolling. We can't give in. We have to roll now against this 17. We have to describe how we're fighting over and around or at the cost of that interference. And if they roll higher than you, Amy, you may also take stress from this. But you also, you might still beat them because a 17 is a pretty high result. So let's go ahead and turn it to Rautna first. Actually, let's describe here as you cast the spell, Mystica Arbora kind of turns the subjects to look kind of like a grove of trees. So just now, all of you, Babukar is making eyes at Mankin who just appeared, and then suddenly you're both trees. Vinaya had sort of backed off. She's a tree. Eljal was trying to call out to Rautna. You're a tree. And Oz and Rautna, as sort of this battlefield shifting and changing as Oz is manipulating her magic, she drops her guard. And then that transforms into an insecurity with her magic. And your illusion takes over hers. And those kind of stone walls that she had arisen that were just illusions are now illusory trees instead. And so now you have sort of this forest in front of you. Which one is a dragon? Which one is a Routhna? Which one is any of you? It's very hard to tell, but you can all enter this battlefield now. But Routhna, what are you doing as you look around and you are now in a forest of trees?
Routhna is gonna just shout over to the group, "Don't interfere! Do not interfere! This is my fight! I came here for this! And Oz needs it just as much as I do." And just looking about is gonna just start swinging wildly. I think what she would do is first target any trees that are directly in front of her, because in her mind, it would be the dragon has turned into a tree. Therefore, the tree where maybe she was standing is
This is a great callback to episode 1 where Routhna clear-cut trees to make her own path through the forest.
Yep.
We're just doing that again. Build me a dice pool, Michael.
All right, so I'm not using awareness. I'm using strength.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And then glory. What better value is there than glory? Gonna keep using Royal Guard. I think makes sense here.
Mm-hmm.
Or okay, maybe this one's a little bit of a joke. How about Neolandian Traditionalist? Because I feel it is very appropriate of Neolandians to just wreak havoc on anything natural that they come upon.
I mean, from your lips to Erebus's ears, I guess. Sure.
Do it.
And I'm not really doing swordplay here. I'm just being really blunt about it. So I'm gonna skip swordplay and jump to
and you can
massive broadsword.
You can still add that D10 insecurity that Oz has.
Now remind me, does that cost me a plot point?
Nope.
Okay.
That is free. If you wanted to use your own stress to your benefit, you could spend a plot point and also add your D8 insecurity to your pool.
I think I'm gonna keep the plot point that I have. I might need it.
Oh yeah.
All right, here we go.
In fact, yes, you might need it because you have to beat a 17 right now.
All right. So what does that add again? What's the die roll?
So you spend a plot point and you get to pull one of those unused dice into your total.
This 5 over here?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Do I just drop that in?
So you put that in your total side. Yeah. I believe an 18 is higher than a 17. Which is great. So you are just swiping through the trees and these illusions, just this mix of like, this was a stone illusion, now it's a tree illusion, and they're kind of just flicking in between each other as you are just swiping and swiping and swiping.
And Routhna is just shouting, "Come out! Show us your strength! Show us why we should fear you!"
I love it. And so you're all watching that. Describe what this looks like, because you do sort of look like a tree. Maybe this influences the illusion somehow. Michael, what does this look like to everybody else that's watching?
You would just see a small tree compared to some of the others that are on the field kind of uproot itself, and the dirt and the grass is just ripping itself from the earth and beginning to spin. And its branches are just whacking all of the trees in the area. And the leaves are quivering as Routhna is screaming.
Outstanding. Cool. I'm going to build my dice pool. I got my D6 catalyst die. I forgot last time to put in my value. I'm going to do that this time, which is glory. D8, which is my frustration will be transformed into blinding power. Which I think feels very applicable here.
You have to keep track also of what Routhna's effect die was from that roll, because it may end up being stressed to Amy.
Yes. Yeah, which is a D10 there. So then I got that. I got distinctions. This is going to be, I think it's that phase dragon again, because she is like, oh, this is an illusion? I can deal with that. She thinks she has an advantage now. And in fact, I'm going to go ahead and spend one of my narrator plot points to use her D10 stress to her advantage here, because she's in a field of illusions. That feels very advantageous to her. She thinks she can definitely get Rothna now. So I'm going to go ahead and add her own stress there. I'm going to add Rothna's stress in there, and I am going to add her claws and jaws specialty. As she's taking stock, she's sort of, you can sort of see just these trees and these bushes moving slightly in this area. You can't quite tell if it's wind or if it's something actually moving as it circles around Michael, or Rothna rather. And yes, Cam mentioned in our chat, I should mention that here for everybody else, because Oz is pushing her stress, which is what I just spent the plot point to do, after this roll, it is going to step up to a D12. So this might blow up in her face, but she's hoping that she'll just knock this one out of the park. So let's see how I roll. Okay, not as good as I wanted it to be, but I can spend a plot point too. I'm just going to spend all my narrator plot points here, evidently. But first I have a hitch. So I will turn that first to Michael. Do you have any plot points left?
I have one plot point.
If you would like to spend that, you could step up an asset for the rest of the scene, or you can step down a stress.
I will step down a stress because I am feeling confident.
Yeah, I like it. What's not to feel confident as you take down a bunch of trees? What else makes someone feel powerful? And I spend a plot point to make this a 21.
Oh, come on, Mellie.
Oh yeah, but
Come on,
it's
Mellie.
not over yet. It's not over yet, Michael. But let's go ahead and I believe, Cam, am I correct in saying that this is where Amy would take some stress?
No, this is where Amy can decide, do I want to keep interfering?
Perfect.
And if you do, throw a plot point out again. You only had to spend one last time I was wrong, but
Yes.
you do get two of them. But this is the point where you say, do I have, if you run out of plot points, you're in trouble because you can't do that. You'll take the stress. If one or both of the other combatants are actually going to roll higher than you, then you'll end up being out. So you don't take stress until Oz has done what Oz has done, which is what happened. So now it's to you. Do you want to continue to this thing, put a plot point in, and then roll again? You might take stress if you fail. That's going to be a problem.
Can she give in this moment?
She can just stop interfering. That does nothing.
Right. So she can just, I'm out. Doesn't take any stress, but doesn't get a plot point either, like a typical give in, because it's an interference. Perfect. So yes, you can say, okay, so your spell's still there, but you're like, okay, I can't stop these two. Or you can say, I'm gonna stop these two and try to roll higher than a 21, but you gotta spend a plot point to try it.
I mean, I don't know what my odds are, but neither does Draylen, so let's try it.
Oh yes. I love it. Let's really quickly, while you think about what you want to do here, Eljal, is there anything as you're seeing just this strange magic taking place in front of your eyes? You're starting to sort of get a sense as these trees move around, sort of where they are false. It's harder to tell with all of you sort of standing back, but you can definitely get a sense of things. Is there anything that you would want to do?
We're all still trees, right? Is that correct?
You appear to be a tree, but you are yourself, so it's an illusion.
Oh, okay, it's just an illusion. All right.
Yeah.
I don't my thought process is still I'm like, okay, there's a fight happening. Ugh, but I'm wondering what if there's any way we can find a vulnerability of Aslumina's to exploit. And the only thing I can think of right now is that our little mantigrade friend was eating the grass and got all weird. And maybe Aslumina has been eating the grass, and that's why she's not herself, whatever herself would be.
Oh.
So, but I don't know how to exploit that.
Right. Well, I think that if you'd like to, you could do a test of some kind to basically try to create an asset, which can be information. So you can take, a little turn here to be like, okay, I want to try to find a weakness of Oz.
Okay.
And then once you've done that, you can either keep that asset for yourself, or you can give it to somebody else, or you can spend plot points to basically make it like, this is a public asset.
Okay.
So would you like to try to do that?
Yes, I would love to. Okay.
Okay, sweet. So let's go ahead and do that. I'm just going to mark down my last roll here with Oz, which is 21 with a D10. And let me set up a test for you. So you are trying to determine, does Oz have a weakness that we might be able to exploit here? I think that this is going to be, because Oz is so distracted by what is going on with everything else, I might have made this hard, but because of that, I'm actually going to decrease it to 2d8s. And I'm going to also add in Oz's catalyst die, which is a d6. But I will say that if you can, I don't even think you need really to explain it. Oz's insecurity is probably going to work in your favor here. And that has stepped up to a d12. So you're going to get an extra d12 in your dice pool for this.
Okay.
Rolling some dice. I got a 9. So go ahead and build me a pool, Aliza.
Okay, putting in that insecure d12. And then probably awareness. And my values, I've traveled far and hopes for a purpose. I think it's glory. Yeah.
I like it.
Okay. And distinctions, I feel like, actually, I was going to say Moonshadow Elf, but I think maybe Homesick Assassin, because being an assassin, you are going to be very observant and looking for vulnerabilities.
I love it.
And then if I'm moving at all to get closer to her, actually, is that something I can do?
Totally, yeah. At this point, because those illusions of those stones has gone away, you're like, oh, those weren't real. Now they're trees. And even if you think that those trees are real, which, you might because it's an illusion that's powerful over your senses, you can get through trees. You're pretty confident about that.
Yes. Okay. Well, then if I can move closer to her, not too close, but closer, then can I use sneaking as well?
Yeah, I love it.
Okay. All right, and that's
beautiful.
My pool. And let's see what happens. What? How?
Well, there is a way this works. Do you have any plot points?
I do have 1.
So you could spend it to move your 3d8 over into your total and then use your 2d8 as an effect die, which will be a success. Or you can just take the failure. You'll get a bit of stress and you will not create an asset.
No, I'll go ahead and spend my plot point.
All right, so you managed to get a 10, which is just enough. I am going to buy that hitch, which is going to...
The chances of that getting a 1.
Very low. Yeah, that D12 hitch is very sad. But hey, you still succeeded. I'm going to go ahead and buy that hitch, which is going to become afraid stress, just trying to navigate this battlefield with a Routhna tree that is swinging wildly with a broadsword you can't quite see. It's a little dangerous, even for you. But you do manage to get a sense as you're sort of coming through here, and you locate Oz Lumina in these trees, and you notice them because of the way that the crescent moon shines down. And you remember before when you could see her clearly that when she was outside of that light, that she looked faded and kind of incorporeal. And when she was in that light, that was as solid as she could be. And so you get a sense of those trees and you can see the same sort of thing happening, that in some places, if you look really carefully, that the illusion sort of shudders a bit and seems weaker. And you think, yes, a weakness of Oz Lumina is that only where she is solid is she vulnerable. And that's where we would need to strike.
Where she's solid is where she's vulnerable.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you have a D8 Oz Lumina's weakness. And would you like to give that to somebody or keep it for yourself or spend a plot point? I guess you don't have any anymore. So keep it for yourself or give it to somebody else.
Well, you bought my hitch, right? So don't I get that plot point back?
Afterwards.
Yeah, you get that after the
not right
phase
now.
of the roll.
Got it. Okay. And sorry, when she was in the light, that's when she was the most solid. And so it's the shade that she's not solid.
Yeah.
Okay. And yeah, so I don't have my plot point yet to use it. So yeah, I'll just take this asset for now.
Okay, so you've got this D8 Oz Lumina's weakness. So as this is happening, so Routhna's just swinging this sword around, and these other trees are sort of moving very cautiously, sort of like the wind, around and circling. And you can almost sort of hear a little bit of a a light chuckle on the breeze as Oz, goes for these like really callous strikes, and these two are kind of trading these blows. Draylen is working on something over there, and Babukar, just before it turned into a bush on the ground, you saw a human right there coming out of your wall of heat. Is there anything you'd like to do?
Yeah, that human, I'm scared because, it's the weird kind of fear. It's the Sunfire Elf fear, which is like, things are going to go bad. This is going to be a problem. It's not, I don't have any danger sense of my own. It's like, whatever. No, this is terrible. So my response is going to be, I think we need to do something about that. Can I draw on the well to do something?
What would you like to do?
Sink him into the ground a bit.
Oh, I think you can definitely narratively do that. And then if you'd like to use it as an asset, okay.
Yeah.
If you want to use it as an asset, you could spend a plot point to use it as a D6 asset.
I have no plot points. So
then never mind. You can just narratively, absolutely, I think, with your magic and the way you studied it over the past few weeks, I think you could probably use it in that way. Just don't do what Bonetta did and, turn it into reverse. That's probably not great.
Well, here's the problem, right, Mellie, is that I have no faculty with this. This is me just thinking, I'll do this. So with no specialty, no asset, I'm just raw going into it.
Yeah.
So
well, yeah, and it sounds like something you might be hindering on this one. But let's see. I think that in this case, let me actually get over to Mencken in my list of people over here so that I can get his traits that I might want to add in here. Mencken is our narrator character. He's not a catalyst. He's not quite that important, but he does have some statistics that I might add if they are relevant to this role. Mencken, here he is, my good buddy who hasn't gotten to roll anything before. He's just sort of been an entity that's sort of been encouraging our friend here. Perfect. Excellent. Yeah, so this is going to be, I think because you're trying to use this primal well to do this, it's going to be hard. And it's also, there's this illusion sort of covering him. So it's going to be hard, which is 2 D10s. And I'm going to add in his Delbarian Hinterlander trait, as I think that he's very used to sort of needing to be very cautious and not get hit by things, especially as he's, hunting magical things. He's pretty spry, even for a bush. I'm going to go ahead and roll those dice. And I didn't roll great. But you have no plot points.
I have no plot points. So
I would throw it. I think first I'm going to throw it to Vinaya because Vinaya, you kind of removed yourself from being involved in that, and so you sort of saw Babukar like kind of cast this spell and maybe notice something. You can decide whether you also noticed Mencken. I'll leave that to you. But now you see these trees and bushes. But if there's anything you would like to take opportunity for, you could step down a stress or step up an asset if you can tell me how you use this opportunity.
Okay, so I think I am going to say that I did notice Mencken. I have no idea who or what this person is, but it adds to Vinaya's confusion, and above all, Vinaya does not like to be confused. Vinaya likes to know what's going on.
Totally.
So Vinaya has decided full throttle to be behind what Draylen is doing, to just try to pause this until we can figure out what the heck is going on. So if there's any way, and explain to me how I do this within the game, but if there's any way I can aid Draylen by maybe giving Draylen an asset or something like that, to help Draylen just kind of put a big old pause on the whole thing. That's
totally. Sweet. So yes, we can definitely do something with that. So we will come back to that as Babukar tries to do this. We're going to jump to that after. So we got 9 for you, Babu.
Just as an offering of a suggestion, if she wants to use the opportunity from this role to step up one of her own assets to then later on help, that might be a thing. I don't know.
Yes, so if you wanted to, you could buy that opportunity to step up your Chronicles of Valerion. That will stay stepped up for the rest of the scene. Okay. If you think that's something you might want to use to help Draylen out.
I'm trying to remember if we said there was a passage on Oslumina in the Chronicles of Valerion or not.
There's like legends of, moon phase ranger, like that might be Oslumina, it might be something else. There's definitely information about, ancient magical creatures.
Okay, and it costs a plot point to get that, right?
Yep, so you'll spend a plot point and you'll get to step that up for the rest of the scene.
Okay, I'm going to do that then. I will spend my last remaining plot point
Delicious.
to step up my Chronicles of Alarian.
Excellent. All right, so Babakar, you are trying to, knock Mencken back with this primal well.
Yep.
Build me
This
a
is,
dice, please.
because this is instinctive as opposed to being like carefully thought out. This is spirit in my case now. So I'll throw spirit in as my attribute. My value in this case, I think I'm kind of want to be protective of everybody here, and that's what I'm trying to keep up. So devotion will be used. I am preoccupied with my greater purpose privately, which is helping others. And I'm hindering my hot-headed fire mage because A, I'm too impulsive and that's not good. And B, this is not sun magic. This is definitely earth magic I'm trying to do.
Yeah, fantastic. So you get a D4 instead of your D8, but you get a plot point, which might be important.
Yep. No specialty and no assets. So that's going to be really, really...
Excellent. Hey, I only got a 9, though.
What's that?
I only got a 9.
Oh, well, that's true. I mean, I could do well. I could see. I got a...
You did.
Pull that off. Got an 11.
Excellent. That is going to be a success. And so, yeah, you definitely describe what happens.
So I just reach out and I think I've been studying this thing and kind of getting a feel for it. This is all mostly instinct. And I know that I, as a sun mage, have no arcanum of the earth to draw on for the earth magic. But this thing is a power source of that anyway. So I'm going to temporarily use it to do what I think I saw people doing or talking about in my studies, and just lower him into the ground, open the earth below him and lower him like halfway up this.
Yeah, like I'm glad you didn't say like 6 feet down. No, just like halfway.
No,
so you're either like trapped like up to his chest in the ground. Is that sort of the idea? Yeah. So it's kind of like, you go to the beach, you bury your friend, his arms are still out. But yeah, and as you do that, again, like Draylen's trying to do more things, so that illusion's flickering a little bit. So in a moment you see as he was reaching for his crossbow on his back, and he looks like he was ready to fire it at you, but you throw him into the ground, and then his arms like get caught, and his crossbow's halfway stuck too, and he's like, come on, and try to get that out, and it's not working. You've sort of gotten him out of the way for now. And we go to Vinaya. There are 2 ways you could help Draylen. One, you can try to create an asset for her. So you can, kind of tell me how you're trying to help, what kind of asset you might create. Or as Draylen builds her dice pool, you could step down whatever value she's using on your sheet for her to step up her value.
Okay. Is there also any way, now that I've stepped up the Chronicles of Alarian, to just like use that and help Draylen somehow?
So you can like share an asset that you have, but your number there represents your connection to that asset.
Got it.
You would give it to her at a D6, but you can use that in your own roll to create an asset. And then if you succeed in creating an asset, you're going to get whatever your effect die is the asset you can give to her. So if you get an effect die of a D10, you're going to give her a D10.
Got it.
So could Draylen at this point be like, I'm out of ideas?
Yeah.
I would like to make an idea for Draylen. That's what I would like to do.
I'm out of ideas.
Excellent. An idea asset. That sounds delightful.
So
yeah.
Boy, you bring your book learning friends when you need to handle emergencies.
Yep. Thinking outside the box. Got it.
Excellent. Yeah, I think this is going to be... Well, tell me sort of what you hope to come up with here. So you want to try to come up with an idea, but do you have sort of a direction you want to go with this, Trisha?
Yes, I'm trying to think of a way that Draylen can use her knowledge of this world, and as someone who's native to the Hall of Wood, to stop the combat. I know Draylen's naturally peaceful. I know that Draylen knows this area. So I'm trying to come up with a way that Draylen could just put a big old pause on this whole thing.
Totally. All right, so I'm going to go ahead. I think you're familiar with Draylen, and you've heard so many of her stories of this. So maybe this outside perspective that's going to help come up with something. And I don't think that's going to be hard. I think it's just going to be challenging. So I'm going to throw 2 D8s in here. And do you have stress?
I do. I am D8 afraid.
Okay, so then that just, that sort of weighs on your mind. It makes it a little more difficult to think logically. I'm going to throw that D8 in my pool. Rolling dice.
Oof.
13. Finally, I feel like I've not been rolling awesome, so.
Okay.
So build us a dice pool, Trisha.
Okay, I'm going to go intellect here, as well as mastery. Through determination, I will outsmart them all. I am going to go, let's see if I can do, I'm going to try to use I need a plot point for that though. Just kidding. You need a plot point to use a distinction, right?
No, it is free. If you decide to hinder it, if you think this is actually, maybe causing a problem, use a D4 and you get a plot point.
Got it. No,
Free to throw in your D8.
I would just like to use, you don't have to remind me. Yeah. Because I've been around with Dallen so much, I like to think I know what Dallen can do. So I'm, recalling things that Dallen can do. And also I'm going to call on the, I'm going to call on the specialty history.
Yeah.
To think about different moments in history when people have been in this type of situation. And then also I would like to use my stepped up Chronicles of Valarian.
Absolutely.
To again recall if anyone has.
Yeah, so once that's in your, you got it. Boom.
That's all in there.
That's pretty nice.
Okay, here we go.
Oh,
that's a tie, and a tie doesn't win, right?
That's true. You have to yeet it to beat it in Cortex. So 13 is not going to do it. Do you have any plot points?
I don't.
No. So unfortunately, it feels like it's right on the tip of your tongue. You might have, and maybe you do come up with something, but it's maybe not the right thing. What do you end up as you're thinking and you're going through your book and you're trying to go back to all your conversations with Dallen? What do you tell her?
I wish I could tell you what to do in this moment, but all I have is that I believe in you. And leave it at that.
And if only that was a positive affirmation D10, but it's just a positive affirmation.
I felt it. Wait, which one is you?
The tree randomly looks at you and says, I believe in you.
And Vanaya is this willow tree. And just the little leaves on it just blow in an encouraging fashion. But then there's other trees also kind of blowing in the wind. And it's like, was that encouraging or was it just the wind? It's hard to tell. But Dallen, 21 is what you're trying to beat to once again try to halt this fight. You do have a D12 from Oz's stress. So that's a bonus die you have there. But tell us what you're trying to do this time. If you're changing anything up, you could just try to use the same idea and try to do it better. And walk us through this.
What does my Luciat Condorum do? My dazzling lights.
It creates dazzling lights. You tell me what that wants to do for you. How do you want to use something like that?
Can I do them at once? Do I have to let go of my Mystica Arbora in order to do Luciat Condorum?
Nope.
I don't think so. No, I think you can try to. You've got this one up, and yes, you're maybe if you fail at this, maybe that can be part of the reason why you failed because it's hard to do both. But you can certainly try to do it.
All right, I'm just gonna. I'm looking at whichever tree I think Benaya was. I guess I'm just gonna keep going. I think they've got to stop. And then I'm gonna add twinkly lights and see if that just confuses people more.
Dallen, if there's anything that I can do to assist you, as Plunky's voice reverberates in your mind, it's just kind of this little, this tiny floating bush next to you. But it's Plunky. Just please, just tell me. I want to help you. I don't know what I could possibly do.
Have you got magic?
Yes, just kind of like looking down, like the bush sort of just tilts because it's floating. I do, yes. Do you want me to zot someone? I could zot someone. Should I zot things?
Would it hurt Oz?
I don't know if I can Zotos. I have Zotted your other friend. I could just try Zotting them again.
I don't want to hurt her either. Well, have you got anything besides the Zot?
I mostly Zot people. I have a whoosh. I can whoosh people. I can whoosh things. I can Zot a whoosh. I can deflect things.
Oh,
I can
whoosh,
hover.
whoosh.
I'm hovering. Whoosh.
Definitely whoosh. Yes.
Okay,
Make them all whoosh.
And Plunky will give you their catalyst die to help. And because of the way that you all interacted with Plunky last time, that got stepped up to a D10. So you get a D10 extra die as well.
All right.
Yeah, it helps making friends with catalysts, y'all.
Yes. All right. So I'm going to rely on the power of whatever the wind alteration of the whooshing to sort of, as I create my lights, to get them to sort of spiral out and go through to try to just increase the visual confusion of the battlefield.
Totally.
And that's a
Give everybody headaches. Nobody wants to fight if they have a headache.
Yeah.
A D12 for Oz's stress, a D10 for Plunky's whoosh, and then I'm just gonna try to add a second spell on top of what I'm doing. I'm gonna use Spirit again. I'm gonna stick with Devotion and Passionate Mage. Interesting. Is I can only use one specialty or the other?
Correct. Yeah, one specialty.
My other specialty, other than Moon Magic, is Animal Ally. Is Plunky currently an Animal Ally?
Plunky is currently the animal ally. Cam, can you advise, can she use a different thing than magic in this case where she's casting this spell?
It makes more sense for her to use the magic because she's actually using magic in this. But,
Right.
I mean, you could say that she's depending on Plunky's magic to help, which could be a justification. Is it because the animal ally is a bigger die?
It is. It's a D8.
Yeah, see, we think about this.
Yeah.
But I can. Moon Magic makes sense. I'm gonna stick with Moon
Yes,
Magic.
all right.
But I am gonna try to channel it back through the brooch and
Yeah.
use my so taking more
Your Moon
risks
Magic
of
spells,
hitches,
yeah.
but I think that's about all I can manage.
Wow, that's a lot.
Yeah, and
Yeah, I think I'm not seeing your moon magic spells in there if you want to throw that in.
Whoop. Okay.
Do you want that and the brooch? Because you can have both. You can have as many assets as you want.
It doesn't seem to
Won't
want
let you.
me to
Oh,
have.
it's not letting you. Oh,
Have I
you might
maxed
because you
out
just have
my
so many
options?
dice. Yeah, I think.
Drag the other one in.
Yeah, maybe
What?
see if you can drag it and see if it'll let you drag it in. If it doesn't, then hey, we'll deal with that. But
Maybe
hey,
just-
that seemed to work. Okay, cool. You just have so many things in this dice pool.
All the dice.
Maybe overdoing it. I'm just
I
throwing
love
everything
it.
I have and completely messing with other players like the great RPG team player I am.
Oh, Ralphna.
Hey, it's the drama. Cortex lives on the drama. I love it.
So let's see what happens. I'm trying to beat a 21.
21. And Michael's like, don't do it. Oh. How many plot points do you have?
Okay, so here's the thing. I have several plot points.
Well, for each plot point you spend, you can add another die that you have there to your total, just not the hitch.
Okay, I believe if I add this, I get to 20. And if I spend a second plot point, I get to 24.
Wow.
2 plot points spent, a 24 with a D12 effect die. Michael, do you have any plot points left?
No, but if someone wants to give me one.
So Draylen adds this second spell, and Plunky does everything in their power to just they pull down into everything, every bit of energy that they have. It's like, I will do this for you, oh good lady of the Hollow Wood, and causes this massive whoosh that goes out into this glade, and all of those trees kind of get blown past, and as these lights spin around, everyone just sort of like loses focus because it's so bright, and even when you close your eyes, you can still see those spots appearing everywhere. And finally, as sort of the whoosh dissipates and it calms, and all of these illusions sort of just fade into one another. You know, it's just left with, you see Rauthna just kind of thrown off to one side, just kind of in a different direction, a little dizzy, a little confused from this spell. And Oz Lumina like just was praying over a tree that looks like this was going to be the one, and was kind of like lifting up to hit it. And as she's just like swiping down, the illusion fades, and she can tell that she's been like tricked by all of this illusion that was going around that she couldn't see through. And now they're both facing away from each other as all of these illusions fade. And what are you all doing in that moment?
Rauthna is exhausted, beaten. I mean, when she was first attacking the trees, she was taking she was just getting beat up, just trying to find her opponent. And in this moment, she is just like breathing heavily and does a quick check to see if Mankin is around. Seeing them buried to the chest, they're her secret weapon. Her shoulders just kind of slump, and there's just the tiniest hint of a little bit of fear and disappointment that washes over her face as she realizes it's over. And then she straightens up and, turning toward Os, just lets out this laughter. Just you see, you are as mighty as I thought you were. You are stronger than you said. I'm proud of you, Os. You are a mighty, mighty opponent.
And that gets her to laugh as well. I have never heard of one such as you. And she approaches, almost looking like, oh, she's going to just eat you now. But she approaches, and then she stops partway and turns towards Dallen and kind of bows her head slightly. Not very much, not showing too much fealty, too much subservience, just a small nod in your direction. I'm impressed, elf. So, I will help you. As I said before. What is it you need me to do? And Tuluin steps forth. Babukar, the primal well. Great Oz Lumina. We must place this here. We must do it safely, and we must use it to, hopefully, I believe, extract this flogula from our home. And Oz sighs and looks to it. If that is what you wish, then I shall help you. And she nods to Babukar, and then just stretches out her wings, and as they catch the crescent moonlight, it just sort of passes through it almost like stained glass, and it hits the crevices in between the stones of this glade, and they sort of alight. They catch this just iridescent moonlight and kind of create a space that goes towards a center that's kind of covered with some grass and moss and growth, and as the moonlight energy hits it, that all just kind of curls back. It doesn't die or anything. It just kind of like rolls itself out of the way, and you see a bit of a crevice that looks like it could potentially host the primal well. I shall assist you, but I shall not try anything strange. You have all proven yourselves.
Just one moment, Babukar will say, leveling his staff in the direction of Minkin.
who's just like managed to dig himself partway out. He's like, oh, I'm gonna get that sweet talking scaly, and just about to pull out that crossbow.
Yeah. I am a battle mage of Lux Aurea, I'll say to him. You do not want to test me any further. This item that I have with me gives me untold magical power. And I'll just try and direct that kind of scary thing at him. I've got afraid stress. I want to try and push it and make him more scared than me.
Sure. Yeah, I like it. Okay, let me set a difficulty for you. Megan's already a little bit he is in a bad position that doesn't really help him out at all. And let me check this with you, Cam. When you push stress, I can still use that in my pool, right?
Yeah.
Perfect. So that's a D6 you have?
Mm-hmm.
And I think this is going to be, I think this is actually an easy test because he is already sort of at a disadvantage against you here. He is still, yeah, but I will add though, what was that trait called? Mencken, come back to me.
Oh, I think I confirmed recently that you don't get to add it in. Yes, you have to check first to see whether you're going to be using it yourself to push it before you include it in your difficulty.
Right, so I'm not adding that. I'll pull that back out. But Mencken is still going to get his own trait in here. I'm just looking at his list. This is going to be his Dragon Hunter distinction. He's not going down without a fight, and he's not even really focused on you. His goal is get that crossbow out and hit this dragon while it is distracted and weakened. So I'm going to go ahead and roll those. He's taking a cheap shot. That's a 12. He's not about glory, unlike Rautna. He's all about getting the winning, whatever route it takes. It's all about winning.
Trisha, I think you still have your dice pool thing up.
Do I? It kind of froze on it, and then I refreshed the page.
Oh, did it? Okay.
So it shouldn't.
Actually, I think we have Rautna up there.
Do we? Maybe mine? Oh, I refreshed it. It's all good.
All right. Go ahead and build us a dice pool, Babacar.
My amazingly high influence of D6.
Yeah.
But this is going to be Justice.
Mm-hmm.
D8. I'm going to be using Hot-Headed Fire Mage to scare him because I am one of those. And up to you, Mellie, if you think you'll let me use my Sun Magic Zero Flourish to make it a little more scarier with the staff and having flames up and down.
Totally.
All right, that's not a spell though, so I'm not going to use that.
Yeah, you're just doing kind of sunfire effects. You're little bits of flame and heat and totally.
And you said it's stress, right? So I'll just pop that in there.
Yeah.
Whoops. Am I? Yes. Okay.
There you go.
So beat a 12, right?
Gotta beat a 12.
How about a 15?
Ooh, that is gonna do it. I will buy that hitch from you, which is going to turn into exhausted stress. D6 exhausted. And describe to me what happens.
Also, that my afraid is now D8.
Yes, because you pushed that. But I don't think he's making you afraid in this moment. And I don't think what you're doing is making you afraid. I just think that it has been a long day. So you're going to take an exhausted and describe to me what happens as he just gets his crossbow out, grabs Walt. He's focused on Oz. What happens?
Yeah, so if I can have this additional bit of license, I'm just going to stalk towards him and say all these things and then poke his crossbow with my staff and just set the bolt on fire or something.
Yeah, and it catches on this crossbow and he's and he has to throw it out of his hands or risk. He doesn't have anywhere else to put it. He's still in the ground. It's like, Rautna, you're just gonna let it walk away?
Rautna, she's not even holding her blade at this point. It's somewhere across the field. It got just taken out of her arms. She just kind of looks over and just let it go.
And he's just silently cursing. And you're all left with now the challenge to place the primal well in this slot here. This seems like it would be extremely hard. Oz offers to you her aid. She says that she can do it. It will depend if you trust her or not to do it, or if you only trust her to help one of you do it. Also, I will say that I think we're starting a new scene here. As Mankin is taken out of the picture, Oz is friendly to all of you at this point. So as this is happening, I think this is a process to do this. Anybody who is not involved in doing this with the primal well, this is maybe a bit of a recovery scene for you. So at the end of this scene, you're going to be able to step down all of your stress by one. In addition to that, if there's anything else you'd like to do in the scene, any conversations, or if you want to nurse your own wounds or help somebody else, that is also something that you can do. But first, I'd like to just know, are you just going to give this to Oz so that she can do it? She has agreed to help you. Up to you if you trust her. Or is one of you going to take the lead on it and use Oz's help?
I think one of us should take the lead and use Oz's help.
Yeah, I think I want to leave Minkin to someone else, though. I would love Eljal to come over and see if they can be scary, threatening to this person, or maybe extract some more information out of them than I obviously can, because my influences, that's all I could pull off is that scary little flame thing, and then I have to be done with it.
Totally.
Eljal can certainly try to do that.
Yeah.
I will need Vanaya's assistance too, I think, and probably also Draylen's for mage and scholarly assistance there, if I'm to do it.
Yeah, Vanaya has no idea who to trust here.
So it sounds like, yes, you're all going to place it yourselves. So Babukar, you have the armor right now, which you definitely need. Nobody else will be able to touch this. Babukar, Tuluan, and Eljal have made that very clear that if anybody else touches this, bad things will happen to them. So you have to be wearing this armor. So Babukar has control of that, unless you all, trade out that armor to somebody else. But somebody else can help. But, hey, you might put yourself at risk if things go bad and you're near that primal well. So I'll just give you that warning. So it sounds like Babukar's involved in that. Who else wants to be involved in that? You won't get to step down your stress if you're a part of that.
By being a part of that, would that include, like, if we are to step down one of our values to help them step up one of theirs, or no?
Yeah.
So that would include that.
So basically it's like, hey, I'm participating in this action in some way. Then you're not taking this time to rest.
Okay, I'll do that.
Okay, so Vanaya's going to help. Anybody else want to help Babukar?
I want to help, but I think Draylen will sort of like sit down and kind of catch her breath because she's pretty drained. But just other than like looking pleadingly at y'all to sort of be like, please do it. I don't know how to help.
Yeah. Plunky's also pretty exhausted. That whoosh took a lot out of her. But she's resting as she notices Draylen on your hand where you were just bit by those worms. And through this recovery scene is just going to be a part of the reason why you're going to get to step that down, is they're sort of just helping you out a little bit with that. Ralphna, what are you doing? We've got Eljal with Mankin. Draylen is resting. Ozlumina is assisting Vanaya and Babukar. What are you doing?
Ralphna, I was going to ask you a rules question.
Yeah.
So Ralphna is separate from the group. And the boisterous, confident energy she was exuding is just gone. She is on the ground, maybe leaning up against a tree, just meticulously, just kind of like, just focused on her wounds, and she is not making eye contact with anyone. And I was going to ask you, I feel that her spirit die is too high for where she is at this point, because she has just been defeated in front of people. There is no exaggerating the details. She lost. So I feel her spirit die. Could I step that down? Like, I feel her value, she's been challenged. Like, she's now...
Yeah, I think that sounds like insecure stress. So, you currently, what did you have? I get you have D8 insecure from your fight. So that is absolutely D8 insecure. That is what that is. That you are very much, anytime you're going to do something where you now being insecure is going to have a negative impact, it's going to get used against you. And I think I'd like to throw out in this moment that Draylen, since you're also sort of resting, as you know, Plunky is helping you out and you two are sort of together and you don't know what to do, but at least things seem better now. You notice Routhna just sort of separate from everybody.
I'd like to say a word to Benaya and make my way over to Routhna, but just at appropriate moments. They don't need to be big.
Excellent. So as Babukar and Benaya and Ozlumina begin to sort of look at this, space that might host the Primal Well, Tuluan's over there as well. Eljal, you are with Mencken, who has no crossbow now. His client has given up. And so he's just sort of like crud. He's been completely defeated at this point, and he's just very impatiently making angry eyes at you.
Okay.
So, are you gonna let me out now or what?
Only if you can let us know what we want to know.
Which is?
Why are you here?
To kill a dragon.
Why?
Why not?
Not good enough.
I've killed so many things, so many creatures. I've killed other dragons, but not one like this, not one that is legendary. I've just killed, little outsiders. This was gonna be an event, and my guest.
Mellie with the burns today.
My guest is expecting a grand hunt, and y'all had to go and interfere with that.
Your guest? I look to where he's pointing.
And just gesturing in the general direction of like where other people are resting, where like Draylen and Routhna all are. You're pretty sure it's not Draylen. You feel pretty confident Draylen doesn't want to kill a dragon. I've been a hunter for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
It's dangerous where I'm from. I kind of just do what I do, and I got really good at it. And so I thought, start making a little bit of extra money on the side. I've been selling experiences. I'll take you into the wilds of Xadia and hunt some wild game. Most of them, they're just, really looking for anything too dangerous. Some moon quails, boring stuff, but not Routhna. Routhna had a taste for something dangerous. And now look at her. You broke her. She's broken. Thanks.
So, Routhna hired you to come bring her to kill a dragon today.
Well, I brought her to come kill a dragon, yeah. But she,
right.
It's my services. This is special services that I offer.
So you just go around killing dragons?
Well, not usually, but sometimes, but mostly just like smaller things, like panthers.
Maybe we should let you go because I feel like you're just going to get yourself killed eventually.
Let me go
then. Is Babukar? Oh, Babukar's putting the primal well on.
Well, I'm about to move over to the thing and
yeah, they're sort of doing like arcane, like prepping themselves so they don't mess up and cause horrible things to happen.
Okay, so I put my hand on Mencken's shoulder just so he can't run away, and I say, "Hey, Babukar, what?"
He's like in the ground.
Oh, he's still in the ground. Okay,
yeah, he's like,
never mind.
He's just like literally like arms are resting on the grass.
I think that's still really cool. That's like just hang on, I'll keep you from doing anything. But
totally, it is. It's a power move.
Hey, Babukar, what are we gonna do with this guy?
It's your call, Aljal. I trust you. If you want to let him go, let him go. But he can't be involved in this. He can't interfere. This will be an extremely dangerous and very perilous situation if you let him mess with it. And I'll just sort of turn around again.
I'd like to Well, first, I want to see what's on Menken's person. If there's any item that has been helping him do what he does, I want to take it from him.
Totally. Yeah, I mean, you can he cannot really fight back from you taking his stuff right now. He is buried partway in the ground. So he's got that crossbow, just a little burnt and singed off to the side. He's got bolts. You also notice he's got like, a bunch of vials and stuff that look like, he dipped bolts into them to like cover them in different kinds of magical reagents and poisons he probably got from some dark mage. But there's definitely not anything in his bag that you're like, you are a dark mage, because he didn't have anything like that. He definitely probably purchases from those kinds of people though. You also, you find like maps and notes. He's got like lots of books in his own writing of like observations and trails. Like he's a long time hunter. He's got a lot of expertise under his belt. And so he also has, other tools, trapping supplies and things where you can lay scents down to basically attract things or keep things away. All those kinds of typical things you'd expect from a hunter to have, but more leaning towards a little bit more magical, a little bit more dangerous.
Mm-hmm. I'd like to take the crossbow and the potions and vials and stuff and put them in a pile on the ground and just like stomp them.
Wow.
Yes.
Those were really expensive. You don't know what I had to do to get those?
I'm sure you'll do it again. I just need you to not do them today.
You could have just said that. You've already beat me. I was just gonna leave and go do something somewhere else. What?
Well, now you'll have to leave so you can get new stuff. And I'm gonna Oh, I guess I can't just lift him out, huh? He's like real buried.
Yeah, he's been trying to dig himself out from before, but after, Bobby Carr sort of disarmed him and he was like, well, there's nothing like, what am I going to do? He just sort of stopped, expecting somebody to magic him out. Can't you like
magic him out now?
Something? It's far too dangerous to use the primal well again for something so petty. I'm sure he could claw himself out.
Okay, well, I'll see you later. I'm glad we had this little chat, and I'm just going to walk back over to the...
Can I at least have a shovel or a trowel or something?
I'm sure you'll figure it out.
Great. And we cut over to Draylen as she approaches Ravna.
You muted?
You might be muted, Draylen.
Let's find out.
There we go.
Oh, no, you're good. We hear you.
Yep.
Are you okay?
Yeah. I'm fine. I took a nasty fall there for a second. It scraped my elbow. It was...
Storyteller, did I hear any of the conversation Eldril just had with Menken?
Yeah, we can say that you did. You weren't sitting very far away, and we can say this takes place after that. So, absolutely, you can have.
So I would just be like, was that true? You came here on purpose to kill a dragon?
Yes. I came here to kill a dragon.
Of all the things in the forest and in the world and all the mysteries and all of the things that you could do if you met a dragon, and the only one you could think of was kill it?
That's all that really matters.
Have you tried any of the other things? You've been missing out on all the fun of the forest for how long? Your whole life? I just, as much like pity pouring out of my voice as I can.
You don't understand, Draylen. The world's changing. Strength is all I needed before. It's all I've had. Now it's all diplomacy and exploration of things we don't understand. But all I've got is my strength. That's all It's the only way I have to prove myself to the others.
I just saw you stop a dragon in your tracks by making it laugh. What do you think strength looks like?
Rofna's gonna stand up. Raw combat prowess is all I've done. All of my years, that's all I've trained. Do you think if I go back and I tell them that I lost, that a dragon laughed in my face, that they would still respect me, that they would still follow me into battle, that they would trust me with their own lives?
You've laughed with dragons. Has any of them ever done that?
No one's gonna believe me. No one.
Who
ever.
cares what they think?
I care what they think. They care what they think. If they're not going to respect me. If they know the truth, that I went with Mantkin, and he got buried by some little twig, and that I got shoved aside like nothing. That dragon, if it wasn't for you, that dragon, Os, would have flattened me. And I know that. And that's just as important.
Well, what if you go back and you tell them you saved the entire city of the Hollow Wood?
Maybe that would impress some people. But the world's not changing as fast as you might think. Some people might think that that's a failure.
You know, Plunky just sort of pipes up in your minds from behind Draylen's head, kind of floating up. Floats over to your shoulder, Raufna, and sits. I once thought that it was very important what others thought of me as well. And if it wasn't for Draylen here, well, I don't know what would have happened when Oslumina dismissed me. But because of the kindness that was shown to me, I now know that I have power beyond what others say I do. And perhaps you may also find it. And if you don't, and you decide to do something like that again, I will zot you much farther and much harder than I did the first time. And just this tiny little face, this like little nose, these cute little eyes. It's not actually speaking, but she then also just kind of reaches out and boops you on the nose, and then jumps on over back to Draylen.
Don't worry. I'm not going to try again.
And as we kind of cut this kind of a recovery scene, I think also, Aliza, I think Eljal didn't do anything strenuous over with Mencken, so you can also treat this as a recovery scene. And as long as your stress makes sense, that you think, yes, this did recover during this, you can step down once. So I leave that to you, Michael, to decide if you want to step down, you're insecure or not.
Absolutely not. I think it's not coming down.
Then we go to Babukar, Vinayat, Lewin, and Oz Lumina. As you sort of looked at this, and this is going to be extremely difficult. In fact, it's going to be started. It's a very hard test of 2d12. And Babukar, you can kind of decide how you want to approach this. And Vinaya is hoping to, step down a value to help you. And you will also receive Oz's Catalyst die, which stepped up from the results of that contest. You all made her more narratively significant, so she's back up to a D8. So you'll get a D8 for that. So describe to me how you would like to approach this.
Benaya, I am sorry that we got off on the wrong tech stack to beginning with. You're human, and I don't really associate with humans all that often. But it's clear that you have great knowledge and great experience with matters of history and things of great importance.
I appreciate you saying so, and I understand that our cultural differences in background lead sometime to tension, but I am glad that we have come a distance in that regard. How can I be of assistance?
Well, so this is the primal well. I'll point at it. It is imbued with magic from the sky primal and the earth primal, pulling it in two different directions, and is extremely powerful in Tuluan here. We have carried it all the way to the Hollywood, and we need to put it in that hole. And that seems like it's very easy. That seems like a very short, simple process, and it might be just if that's all it took, that would be one thing. However, and Tuluan, please correct me if I'm wrong, because your moon magic and my sun magic together have nothing to do with this. So what I would love to hear from you, Vinaya, is if your book or any of your past experiences could perhaps guide us from the before, from distant ages. Any sort of moment when maybe the primal well had appeared in literature or stories or songs that could give us some kind of insight. Because that's something I don't have any personal experience of, because all I do is blow things up. And Tuluan, you just hide from your people, isn't that right?
Yes, let me think on that. And also, Ozlumina can hear us, I assume, right now.
Yeah.
Oh yes, Ozlumina is there and kind of observing, kind of waiting to see what you're all planning to do.
And
still kind of hoping that maybe you'll ask her to just do it for you. But she's giving you the respect that you all have earned.
Okay, I will see if I can recall anything similar, and I trust that everyone here is in agreement. This is the place we are supposed to set the primal well, indeed?
It is the, Tuluan speaks up, at the very center of this area. I'm hoping that the magic will extend from here. You weren't with us in Anim, Vinaya, but it was a city floating above the world. I am hoping that through lifting up our own city, that what is attacking us from the earth will have no hold here, or that at least we can eliminate it more easily than we have been able to.
Okay, then.
But it's a guess.
Okay.
But yes, if you would like to do another asset test, so trying to create an asset to help Babukar, you can definitely do that.
I would like to do that. Does it matter that I don't have a plot point?
It does not. You do not need a plot point for this. I think this is, as much as you do still have that afraid stress, because right now you all sort of have time to sort of think this through and go through your book. You're not sort of in this, like, there's a dragon fighting a person right now. We have to find an answer. I'm not going to use your stress against you. Don't think that it's going to apply here.
Okay,
so I got these 2 D8s, and I'm going to roll them. Doop, doop, doop. 15. I still rolled really good, apparently. I didn't need that extra die. Who needs that?
I'll just roll this. You're like, okay, yeah.
Yeah, no big deal. No big deal. All right, I'm going to try.
Yeah, describe to me how you want to build a dice pool here.
Okay, well, I'm going intellect for my attribute. I'm thinking either mastery or glory for the value. I think I'm going to go with mastery here.
Yeah, what's that statement?
Through determination, I will outsmart them all. So I'm hoping to overcome my fear in this given moment, and with everything that I'm so unsure of going on around me, to really just kind of buckle down and look at the facts and examine the situation. I will also use my distinction. You don't have to remind me, to try to recall if this is anything I had ever heard about in my lessons. And of course, my Chronicles of Valerian, to go through and try to find anything that that might be relevant here. I would also like to draw on my history, my knowledge of history.
Absolutely.
Okay, so that's what I'm
And I will suggest to you
Yes.
If you want to, again, this isn't something you have to do, but if you wanted to actually hinder your distinction, like maybe you say, well, actually, maybe we do have to remind me, I'm going through my books to try and find an answer. You could hinder that. You'll get a plot point, which you can spend to add more dice to your total if you need it, but you will have a D4, which might hurt you. So that is just an option if you want to try to get yourself a plot point.
You know what? I think I am going to do that then.
Nice. So there you go. You have a plot point, which you'll be able to spend after you
if I need to move one over.
Exactly. So you can maybe have 3 dice, which might help get a beat of 15 a bit easier.
All right, here we go. Let's see what happens. Oh, shenanigans.
Oh,
no.
Ouch.
Yeah, that's a no-go, even if I use the plot point.
No, so save that plot point. Keep it.
Get one anyway because of the power of hitches.
You're going to get another one. So I will buy that from you. So I'm going to call that, well, you tell me, should that be angry or insecure?
Ooh, I would go with insecure.
Excellent.
For Vinaya. It's been a day. She's trying to recall in her night. But I mean, honestly, Vinaya's kind of just chalking it up to, this is an area I don't know. These are a people I don't know. This is why I've come with Dallen on this journey to learn more about this. So Vinaya is just entirely out of her element.
Excellent. So yes, I'm going to buy that. You get a plot point. So you're up to 2. And that's going to give you an insecure D6. And then because you failed this test, I had a D4 effect only. So that's all that's going to do is it's going to step up your stress once. So it's going to go from that D6 insecure to a D8 insecure.
Okay.
I should also note though that I did get 5 or more higher than you, which is it's a villainous success or heroic failure, whatever you want to call that. We're going to do a giveaway in chat for that because we haven't done one today. So hey, there is a positive here, and that would put my effect die to a D6, but that doesn't change what happened. So I just wanted to point that out for the chat. Yay, a giveaway.
Okay.
But you go through this book and you're just trying to find some mention of this primal well of the sky wingles you're being told about and mean anything like that. And it's like, it doesn't exist in this book. It's like nobody in Ilarion had any idea this place existed. So you don't have any answers. You are answers, just like what happened with Dallen in that moment where you couldn't think of anything. That's twice now that you haven't been able to come up with an answer. Doesn't feel great.
No.
Like that much.
Looking expectantly at you.
I apologize. I'm entirely out of my world of knowledge here, and nowhere in my history have I come across anything like this primal well. I'm sorry, I cannot be of more assistance.
Well, maybe you could chronicle this and add it to the body of lore that you have.
Ooh.
It would be my honor.
Thank you, Vinaya.
Right.
Thank you for looking. Babuka's thinking for a moment, like, I could have said something really, really, but that's, why kick someone when they're down? What a horrible thing to do. All right, I'll turn to Lewin and I'll say, look, it's time we did this. We need the dragon's help more than ever because of this. We just need more knowledge.
Oslumina, will you? And she nods and she starts kind of casting magic, and it's helping sort of lighten the primal well. So as it gets lighter, it becomes easier for you to move it and position it, Babukar. So that's how she's helping. As well, Feather Shawl, sort of activating the magic of that shawl that they have is doing a similar thing. So they're basically working together and combining their magic to make it easier for you to maneuver this well. So you're going to get a D8 from Oz and a D8 from Tuluan.
Okay.
And this is a 2D12 test.
Yeah.
Do you have any stress?
No stress or anything. You know how many plot points I have too? I have.
Oof egg.
But don't worry, I know how to make that work because I can hinder my mage thing again.
It's yes. Sorry. And what was your stress? Because you just yeah.
I do have stress. It is D8 angry and D6 exhausted.
I think that angry stress, trying to focus on doing something in a really specific way when you're angry, It's really easy to get frustrated and like want to go more quickly than how you should be going. I'm going to throw that D8 angry in there. So I got 2d12s and a D8, which is going to set the difficulty for this.
Lovely.
And it could be pretty bad on a failure. I got a 17.
Oh,
Cam Banks. Build us a dice pool.
that was a lot. So a 17. Okay. Intellect is what this is.
That sounds great.
This is all. You know what? I think this is my moment. I'm thinking I should do this. Ralthan's had her moment where she's been challenged by it, and I want to challenge this. I said I live to see the day when I may overcome a worthy foe, and that is not actually true. I question that. I'm going to question whether that really is what's going on here.
Excellent. So questioning a value is going to let you use 3 of those dice in your pool instead of 1, but you're going to have to step it down after.
Yeah.
So that is what you're doing here, which is incredible. And that was glory that you're questioning?
Yeah.
So I will throw to you, Trisha, that if your glory is higher than a D4, you could step yours down to let Babukar step this up.
Would like to do that. My glory is a D6, so I will step it down.
Excellent.
Well, that's cool because that means I could put them up to 12.
So 3d12s is what you're adding for questioning that value. That is amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
But it still steps mine down to D8, even though I've stepped it up by that. It's not actually changing my core value. My core value goes down by 1.
Correct, yes. It's just changing it for this roll.
Yeah. Hindering my hot-headed fire mage to get a plot point. And it won't be sun magic and it won't be sun magic spells. So I do get the D8s, don't I, from the 2? So
yes, you get 2 D8s from these characters that are assisting you as well.
All right. Cool. So what, 17 I have to beat?
You have to beat a 17, but you have 3 D12s in that pool.
Or it's all good. Watch me roll all the hitches. Ooh, 18.
18!
And actually what I want to do, I got a D12 effect die. I want to use my plot point that I just got from hindering to pull the 6 in.
Oh, yeah.
And get 24.
Which means you are going to get a heroic success. When you step up a D12, I believe if you have any dice left, you can add one of those as another effect die.
Yep.
So you get to add, you have a D12 and a D8 effect die. So you did this despite your anger, despite how difficult this is to maneuver, despite needing so many hands to help you. Describe how you accomplish getting the primal well perfectly into this fissure.
So at the moment when I'm moving it in place and I've got the armor on to try and make myself, safe from it, and trying to start maneuvering its actual powers means all the lights and the sigils and the runes on the side start glowing up. And it does its thing where it starts looking like it's going to blow up. It's like it's all lights are coming out of it. I feel myself getting angry that I'm not able to do this, and all the lines on my face come up, the heat body thing.
Yeah.
But I know that if I do that, I'm going to interfere with the magic that's going on here. So most of what I'm doing is suppressing my own anger and trying to get that under control so I can force it into this place and connect it to the hollow wood, to connect it to the land around it like it was with Anin.
Yeah. As you try...
I'm depending on Oslumina and Tuluan to make that connection to the moon that I haven't got.
Definitely. And as you're doing that, I'm going to buy that hitch from you. So I'm going to up your anger because you're trying to contain it. And it's making it that much more powerful. So you are going to go up to a D10 anger. But what happens as this finally sets into this fissure? The magic takes hold. And from this base, this rainbow energy arcs off of it for a moment, almost this like explosion backwards. And all of you in this glade kind of just get pushed back from this intense bit of magic. And then the entire area begins to change shape because from this center, it just kind of lifts up as if, it's trying to pull the whole earth up. But this place that wasn't prepared to be lifted into the sky the way Anine had been prepared before it got the primal well put in place. So it is holding on. And so instead what happens, instead of pulling out of the earth, instead it just pulls up and it just creates this craggy hill. You're all pulled up with it. So just inside of this glade, those obelisks on the side are torn asunder, basically freeing Oz Lumina in the process, as all of this raises up and creates a hill, and it goes and it goes and it goes up and it goes up until it reaches the edge of the hollow wood where you all did that dance to access this area. And that magic hits and it halts what's happening. And so now the hollow wood, instead of being this large, kind of mostly flat, almost a valley, it is a large hill. And as that last bit of magic slashes onto the edge of that other bit of magic with this big boom sound, the flogula is forcibly expelled from beneath the ground. And you hear this screeching sounds as its limbs go up, and you are now at the top of the hill of this entire area, and you see in the fields just outside of town as this massive black creature with these tentacles, a body completely made up of those thick black worms, emerges, and you hear the shrieks of the people down in the hollow wood who were not prepared for this outcome. And that is where we will end today's session. Thank you all for joining us today. This was fantastic. We fought a dragon. We got Flogula out. Our finale is going to be next week. Tune in at the same time as usual. That is 3 p.m. PT on Thursdays. Let's give our goodbyes. Trisha, where can people find you on the internet?
You can find me at that girl Trish with no I in the girl. So it's just that GRL Trish on all the places on the internet, or twitch.tv or YouTube /Trisha Hershberger. Mellie, as always, this has been a delight. Thank you so much for having me.
Love having you here. I know you have a heart out, so thank you so much for joining us.
Bye, everyone.
Love, much love, much love. Michael.
Oh, you can. Oh, I'm what? You can't just end it there.
I can, and I did.
I'm Michael Galvis. You can find me on Twitter at Michael Galvis. You can also find me here, as well as on D&D Beyond.
Excellent, Amy.
Same. This was amazing. I can't wait for next week. You can find me at Enthusiasme everywhere. You can find me right here. You can find me everywhere Fandom Tabletop. And you can find Michael and I just camping out until next Thursday.
Excellent. Aliza Pearl.
Hello, I'm Aliza Pearl. You can find me at Aliza Pearl on Twitter and Instagram. It's ALIZA. And I do a lot of streaming of TTRPGs and games, video games. So just follow me and I'll tell you where I'm at next. Next is Saturday, Lords of Faerun. I DM that campaign at
lots of streaming, and it is all excellent. So definitely tune into that. Cam Banks.
Yes, you can find me at Boy Monster on the Twitter and Rusty Sellsword on the IG. And of course, you can find us at any time of the day on Discord. And do please also check out at Cortex RPG Twitter account for the goodness of Cortex.
Excellent. Yes, and I have been Mellie Doucette. You can find me on Twitter at MellieDM, and of course on the Cortex Discord. I'd love to see you over there. Thank you again, everybody, for joining us. Thank you to Wonderstorm and Netflix for making The Dragon Prince, which is an amazing show, and for letting us make a role-playing game out of it, because I love this game. Thank you, Cam, for making the game. Thank you, Dan Telfer, for writing this tale that we've been playing through. It's an absolute delight. And thank you all for watching and joining us. We loved having you. Hopefully you'll join us for the finale next week. And until then, I hope you all stay safe and have a great rest of your week. Farewell.